Honestly, I wasn't sure it's about me. I'm speechless. Honestly, I'm speechless. So, catching my breath, let me first of all say huge thank you to you, Sandy and Linda, for your love and support. And for this evening, what can I say? You are just the best. And thank you. And thank you, Martin Indix, for your amazing words. You surprised me, really. I didn't expect that. And to all of you for coming and being with me. It's so great to be here again with my really dearest friends. And before I start, I do want to wish speedy recovery to former President Shimon Peres, who is in the hospital in Israel. And I hope he will make it through this. So, you know, this is the last time I'm attending the Guardians of Democracy evening as the Executive Director of the Newsworld Fund in Israel. Quite naturally, I've been thinking recently about the 2 decades I've spent with the Newsworld Fund and the long road we traveled together. It's easy to forget how difficult things were when I joined Shatil, the NIF action arm that helps social change organizations. The people we work with were literally trying to push mountains. Gay rights were taboo. Religious pluralism was beyond the pale. You were either a militant secular person or Orthodox. Palestinian citizens of Israel were completely absent from public life. To many people, simply working on those causes seemed either too hopeless or too radical. Why do LGBT people need a center in Jerusalem? They have already one in Tel Aviv. No. Things got even more complicated 7 years ago when Daniel and I became the directors of the Newsworld Fund in the US and Israel, respectively. Only a few months later, as we woke up to see billboards all over Israel showing NIF's then president, 3-term Knesset member, Professor Nomi Chazan, with a horn on her forehead, a well-funded right-wing organization named Im Tirtzu, with strong ties to leading politicians, launched a campaign against us, accusing us of treason, no less. Beware, I remember Nomi told me, this is just the beginning. As we were deliberating how to respond to these attacks, so-called friends call us and offer us free advice. Drop breaking the silence. Stop supporting B'Tselem. Let go of Fadala. Why do you need all this hate mail, they said. The snide remarks your daughter, a TV reporter, gets in the Knesset, the post against your husband. Tell your flagship organization, the Association for Civil Rights, to focus on more popular causes and everything will be okay. When we refused, the attacks intensified. I particularly remember Memorial Day in 2010. I was standing at the grave of my first husband, an armed corps officer killed in the Yom Kippur War, but I thought about the signs Im Tirtzu hung all over Jerusalem that week. They were showing military graves and charging us with persecuting Israeli soldiers. Now, the reason I'm telling you all this is not to gain your sympathy, even though I do want your sympathy. What I'm saying is it was all worth it. Everything. The ads, the mails, the attacks, it was all worth it. Thanks to your support, our beloved and incredible board member, international council members and donors, and to so many thousands who stood by us, the Newsworld Fund is bigger, stronger, and more strategic organization than it ever was. We were attacked and even demonized, but we kept on fighting. And at the end of the day, so many of our causes have become mainstream. This summer, as Daniel mentioned, 25,000 people came to march in Jerusalem Gay Pride Parade. and to commemorate Shira Banki, the teenage girl who was murdered at the parade a year ago by a religious fanatic. Among those marching was an unprecedented number of religious people, some of them in clear defiance of the rabbis. There is a Jewish revolution taking place in Israel. Thousands of girls are reading the Torah in their bat mitzvah. Almost none did that a decade or two ago. And the High Court is forcing the government to come up with an arrangement for equal prayer at the wall. We have been fighting for affordable housing for so many years, and we were always told that it's only the market that can provide solutions. Today, the government is marketing the very same affordable projects we demanded. Palestinian citizens of Israel are more represented than ever today, not just in Knesset, but in the media, business, and arts as well. In 2011, we formed Tag Meir, a coalition of organizations aiming to stop the so-called price tag attacks, violent crimes committed against Palestinians and their property. At that time, the authorities paid little to no attention to those attacks. Today, there is a government crackdown against price tag, and there is a significant decline in their frequency. We didn't end the occupation, this is true, but I'll never forget one of our board members bursting into tears when he heard that we won the High Court battle that resulted in moving the separation barrier in Bil'in, returning much of the village's land to its rightful owners. He understood that we made a real difference. And Im Tirtzu, the last campaign they started, this time against well-known Israeli celebrities who are connected to our grantees, received wall-to-wall condemnations. It was so bad that even Netanyahu and Bennett distanced themselves from Im Tirtzu. My friends, let's not elude ourselves. Israel is at a dangerous crossroad. It is led by the most right-wing government we have ever had. Racism, xenophobia, and nationalism are coming from the top, fueled by populist politicians and irresponsible media. For the first time in our history, we face a new kind of existential threat. Not the one that comes from a hostile neighbor, and not even the threat of delegitimization from the international community we hear so much about. It's a threat that is eating us from within, eroding our values, our institutions, and the visions of Israel's founding father. The New Israel Fund is ready for the battle. I know it, and I feel it in the bottom of my heart. Because in the past 20 years, I've seen such incredible positive changes led by amazing people. I know there are so many more changes to come. The funny thing about change is that when it comes, it seems as if it was here all along, waiting to appear. It's as natural as the sun in an Israeli summer morning. So natural that it's difficult to imagine anything else. How can there not be a gay parade in Jerusalem? How can a girl not read the Torah? How has the occupation lasted so long? The New Israel Fund is on the cutting edge, bringing injustices to be recognized and addressed, touching the lives of so many. We are in the business of turning what seems impossible to the possible. When I entered my first position at the New Israel Fund as the head of Shatil, one of our staff members told me at our very first meeting, "This is not a workplace. This organization will change your life. It will give it a new meaning, and it will make you look at the world in a different way." Change, my friends, is everywhere. Thank you for embracing it with me.